Oh, hi! Toy sharing time. Now, last week we were able to discuss and to share our Banpresto Real Deform figure of Kamen Rider Triple Zero. Now, I've also added a few more figures to show some of my other non SHF or non Bandai's non action figure stuff of Kamen Rider Triple Zero or 000, and that also got me thinking, why not try to find my other figures. I mean, I try to do the same thing with regards to the figure we're talking about, because right now we're gonna be talking about actually the character closest to my heart because it's my favorite Kamen Rider Fourze. Now, bit of a background story about this is because this figure is my first ever Kamen Rider toy. It's actually my first ever Kamen Rider toy, which I really fell in love with and decided to go into Kamen Rider collecting. And that is none other than the Kamen Rider Banpresto Real Deform Kamen Rider Fourze. I actually got this in a Facebook seller. It's actually selling this and Kamen Rider Wizard, Den O, and Kamen Rider W. And apparently all those other figures were already reserved, and I ended up with this. Now I got the figure and then started researching who he was, because at that time I wasn't that into Kamen Rider yet because I was still collecting the SH Figure Arts versions of some Avengers, and also trying to build up my Ninja Turtles line, but 2012 version. And I got this, and I noticed he's very different from the usual Kamen Riders. And then when I got into the story, watched the series, I fell in love with it, and um, we're gonna be discussing them. We're gonna be discussing this as well as the other figures that I brought out, and they're the non-articulated figures that I have for Kamen Rider Fourze. Another special thing about this is actually a quick anecdote is that this is my third Kamen Rider Fourze figure, because what happened was in the previously, when I keep them out of the box, he fell over and his antenna broke, and I had to replace him twice because he actually fell twice and broke a figure, and I had to buy the figure all the way in Japan for this, which is I'm happy that I was able to replace Kamen Rider Fourze. And actually, the one I bought the figure, and then when I bought the figure, a joint broke, which then cost, since I had extra parts of the figure, I was able to repair him. So this is basically a Frankenstein Banpresto Kamen Rider Fourze Real Deform. So let's check it out. So, just like the previous two Kamen Riders, namely Kamen Rider Den O and 000, this is a little bit of this features the figure itself and pair of hands, but unlike the other figures, it actually just has an extra pair of hands, one extra pair. But actually, Kamen Rider 000 has the same thing, and his rocket accessory. The thing with the rocket accessory is that in Kamen Rider Fourze's concept, parts of his body transforms into weapons, and this is the rocket base, wherein his right arm specifically, becomes a rocket. So let's open him up. Actually, this is really my first. You know what? When I broke the figure, I really shed tears. And when I found the figure in Akihabara, I was so happy. So this is the figure. So it's just like Kamen Rider Fourze, but in a chibi or super deformed type scale of his body definition. So articulations there. And then this is classic. This is his classic space is awesome pose. Putting him in a space awesome pose. And then you can actually remove the hand. You can actually remove the hand and change it. And change it to the rocket hand. To the rocket arm, I mean. So you put him as so. And you can use him and you can pose him with a rocket hand. Just like in the box. Just like the poses in the box. Right. So there. So it's basically just like Super Deform. It does give you value because it does give you its main weapon. But if you're gonna compare it to the SH Figuarts version, well, definitely gives a lot more stuff. But I've always been very happy with Fourze since he always has those rocket weapons to really provide value. I guess it's always one thing that always it's always my definition of providing value is giving more than what is the basic, right? It gives you value because of course you get, the more stuff you get, then the more value for money that you've gotten. And basically, in terms of value itself, this doesn't really have much. This has actually the least because it only has the rocket arm and extra hands for posing. But it does what gives value. What gives me value? What gives the value for me also is that, of course, he is my favorite Kamen Rider, so I do have the bias on that as well. So this is Kamen Rider Super Deform. Articulation is there, knees, the hips, crotch. It also has a little bit of an ab turn, and the head. So actually, this is the third Kamen Rider that I have, third figure overall, but basically he's a mix of actually a mix of three figures because the head is from one figure, arm is from one figure, and the leg is from one figure. So he is basically a Frankenforce. Now since I've also been talking about value, and since we started in the last video about 000 in terms of other types of Kamen Rider figures, I actually brought a few other Fourze figures. The first is this figure, Fourze. So this was him doing his rocket arm in his rocket states. So this is just a base, right? It does have the rocket effect, so it's just like him flying off. To either use this to fly off, and what usually happens is his other foot changes into a drill to do the rider kick. Right? Actually pretty nice. I actually bought this in some of the side toy stores around far from my area, and so I know it's one of my better Fourze finds. Another also is very similar. It's also a very small figure, miniature of Kamen Rider Fourze, with his bike, the Machine Mazigler, and flying off from the moon base. Because actually the headquarters of the Kamen Rider Club, or they call the Fourze team, is in the moon. So there's a base there. So it's like him basically flying off with a boost, using the Machine Mazigler as the base. It actually disassembles, so you can disassemble this, and then so for I guess for storage purposes or to keep, so you can remove the effect, and you can also remove the bike. So if you'd like to keep them in a smaller container, then you can as well. So yeah. Now, lastly, I also have some of these minifigures of Kamen Rider Fourze as well. And what makes it special for me is that I was able to complete all his states. Now, what are those states? Basically, Kamen Rider Fourze, with the different switches he has, changes. He actually changes into different types, or basically different modes, for him to be able to fight his opponents better. So this is an example of the basic states, which is what we have, which is his basic rider. So this is his main pose, which is the normal standing pose. Then we have this one with his fist bump pose, because that's also one of his trademark moves, the fist bump. So the fist bump pose. Now we're gonna go to his states. First off, we're gonna do this lightning state. So it doesn't have the electricity vibe, electricity power on him. It does have a sword. So this is what he looks like when the switch for the lightning states gets enabled. Another is his fire states. So you can see the subtle differences in his suit. Actually, also for the rocket sides. See, so this is the fire states, right? Rocket states. Then we do have we do have the cosmic states, right? So you can see a little bit of the difference. Then we have the rocket, the other states. One of the other states, he has a sword. He gets a big sword out of it. The rocket becomes a sword. So sword is a state for this. So you can see the difference in the figure, in the action, and in the look. Next is the double rocket, the rocket state. So instead of just one arm being a rocket, it becomes two. Right? So this is the two rockets. Right? And lastly, the magnet state. This is the one that I really like the look of, because it looks like two cannons, but it's actually two separate magnets. Right? So so these are the different states that he have. But also, since I would like to give value, I always want to give value, I'd also like to add his sidekick, or his secondary rider, Kamen Rider Meteor. So I do have their main poses for the Meteor, and I love them because it's actually simple, because for Kamen Rider Fourze, there are only two riders. It's just Fourze and Meteor, so it's easier to collect. So I have Meteor, and I also have the alternate states of Meteor, which is the Meteor states. Right? So the cosmic states as well. So in essence, I have all the states in this form of figure. So actually, I actually have a lot more. It was posted in my community. One of my community posts is actually my Kamen Rider Fourze exhibit in the 2024 toy convention, and I have a lot more. Actually, I have a complete set of the vinyl figures. I have the 10-inch vinyl figures. I have the 3-inch vinyl figures. This is just a small part of what I have, but I just like to share it with you guys, since they're more or less in the super deformed look, or the super deformed scale. So I just like to post it out like this as well. And I added these figures because I'm not sure on how to place them. Do I put them as like a mini statue or something? So I added them as well. So this is actually this is also pretty sentimental, since this is actually the first Kamen Rider product I really decided to buy on, because I see his episodes, but when I saw this was available, I got it, and I haven't looked back ever since. So thank you for sharing this with me. It's actually my favorite figure, still my favorite figure. Honestly, it's a bit dated in the sense that it's been played with a lot. Well, not played. It's been posted a lot, and still one of my favorite and most sentimental figures. So thank you very much for sharing this with me. Personally, this is a very I feel pretty special for this, because this is my first real Kamen Rider purchase. But I'd just like to add, for more context, or for more value, I guess, I have two more figures actually that I'd like to show for this series, and that is, I haven't opened this yet because I didn't see the need yet, is Kamen Rider Ichigo and Nigo. Basically Kamen Rider 1 and 2 in the form as well. So you can see from the helmet, this is Ichigo, the first one, and Nigo as the second one as well. Actually one of my happiest collections. I do have another one, the WCF version, wherein both of them are doing the rider kick. I'll be sharing that as well. But again, thank you very much for taking the time to share my favorite Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider Fourze in his Banpresto Real Deform version. And next week we're gonna be sharing the next rider after him, which is Kamen Rider Wizard. And stay tuned for that.